Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Welcome back to another episode of A Safe Space for Men. I'm your host as usual. Before we get started, please remember to rate, review, like, and subscribe to the podcast. I appreciate it. Every time I do that, I'm out of breath. Today I'm joined by two good black brothers. I got our usual co-host Antmoney here to my right, and then to the far right, I got Big Exclusive from the Big Exclusive Network. So welcome, guys.
Thanks for having me, bro.
Before we get started, I always start with mental health check. How y'all feeling?
I'm good. I had to take a little bit of time to do some inward reflecting and kind of get myself back to a normal. But when I see those things in myself, correct it, give myself room to go through that and move on. So I can say I'm at a good space right now.
What was going on?
Just life stuff. When you have those children, stuff dealing with them. Then my uncle had passed away, and it was crazy because, he was my favorite uncle. I even think we had talked about him on the show a couple weeks before that.
Yep.
And it was just death is a natural part of life, but he wasn't sick where I would have even seen it coming. So it was such a shock.
How old was he?
I believe he was about 77. But it was crazy because looking at him, you wouldn't have known.
Right, but that's still fairly young. That's not
you lived a full life at 77.
Yeah, don't tell me that, because that means I had my life already.
Gotta make it count.
Big Exclusive.
I'm good, man. Having a little PTSD with the conversation we had prior to coming on, talking about jail. But yeah, I'm in a better space now. Health is definitely back to almost 100%.
That's good.
Just lost an aunt. Quick rest in peace. Shout
Sorry
out to
for your
Aunt
loss.
Gwen.
Sorry for loss, brother.
Sorry for your loss too, man.
Appreciate it.
But I honestly felt like I needed this.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Come kick it with the brothers. Talk about some stuff, take my mind off some stuff. But yeah, man, I'm glad to be almost back to 100%. Grieving here and there. Just recently lost mom, and now Aunt Gwen. So, just trying to maintain, my head. I don't know. I'm just trying to maintain, some semblance of normalcy in this space that I'm in right now. So my daughters are a big part of that. Shout out to Kayla and Cameron. Without them, I'd probably be, in mental health crisis, honestly. But as it stands, I'm good. I'm feeling strong. Mentally, I feel strong. Mentally agile and fit, to be honest. So, yeah, I'm in a good headspace, and I appreciate you asking, bro.
I think kids, they had it, especially small kids, they had that effect. They got the ability to, you can have a shitty ass day.
Yeah.
Jordan do that. I come in the crib, I be cooked, had a long day, a whole bunch of stuff happened, and she just be like, I miss you, Daddy, and she'll give me a hug. And to her, it's the greatest thing in the world, but to me, it's when you just completely reset my day.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's definitely good, especially we both got girls.
Right.
They definitely really know how to, without even knowing, really know how to impact your day in a positive way.
Yeah, it's that affection that comes from the girls. Yeah, for sure.
So for you, because I asked Ant this before already, so this question is actually more for you. What does being a father mean to you?
It means, number one, having the greatest job in the world, having the greatest responsibility in the world. I actually, until I had kids, I never thought I would be a dad, right? Because for a long time, I thought I couldn't. You young and you running around and reckless, raw dog and everything, and it wasn't nothing happening. So, hey, I was definitely and I just thought it wasn't in the cards for me. Maybe I was sterile or something. I never went and got checked out or nothing like that. I was young, like I said, and reckless. But then when it happened, my life went from, being all about me and that sort of selfishness that you have and that immortality that you feel like you have, to everything being put in perspective. And the funny thing is, all my friends, when I found out, I was having a baby, all my friends was like, "Oh yeah, you want that boy, right?" This, that. And I was like, "No, absolutely not." Now, and all my friends looked at me strange, like, why wouldn't you want a boy to, pass down the legacy and the last name? I'm like, man, I'll work for the last name so they don't have to. So regardless if they get married or not, they'll want to keep it and maybe hyphenate it or whatever the case may be. I just didn't think like that. What I was thinking about is all the shit that I did and went through growing up as a young black man or boy in West Philly down the bottoms. Shout out to the bottom. But that's what I was thinking of. And I was like, there's no way I want a boy to go through any of the shit that I went through, because I just knew how hard it was for me. Right. And I would always say, if my mom knew a quarter to half the stuff I was out here doing, she might have passed away, way before our time, because it was just hard out here. Like, I grew up in the era where, you had the JBM, you had gang wars, drug wars, and literally I'm losing friends, weekly. Right. I'm watching, literally, this is no exaggeration, I'm watching people being shot to death. I'm watching people get shot and survive. And it was like, for me, the things that I felt like I had to do to survive as a young black man and, growing up in West Philly, I was like, there's no way I want a boy. And I immediately moved out of Philly. Well, at least to the Philly suburbs, when I found out I was having, a kid. Okay. And I was like, give me a daughter. The worst that they can do is come home pregnant, right? I can handle that, right? But the stuff that I went through and I saw and I was doing, I don't want my son to have to make those kind of choices and survive those kind of things. I wanted to raise my kids in love. So being a dad for me, or being a father, is taking pride and just being present. Like, you don't always have to have it as a father. You don't always have to have a ton of money. The main thing you have to do is just be present. And I'm proud of the fact that I'm always present. I'm always present in my daughter's life. So it's the greatest responsibility. It's scary, but it's the most rewarding, job I ever had.
I think a lot of people don't get that part. Like, being present is really what's important.
Yeah.
I challenge people all the time. Just think about, the dad you had growing up. If you were fortunate enough to have a dad. We kind of spoke to that earlier before we started the show, that, that two family thing. Mm-hmm. To them guys, it was all about, dropping the money off and this, that, and that. Now, which do you remember more? The one that the 50 cent or the dollar you used to get on the way out to school? I'm old, so y'all might be a little bit younger than me. Yeah, so it might have been a little more for y'all, but for me, it was 50 cent. I was
get a dollar.
Yeah, see, for me, it was, we started out with 50 cent, to grab a bag of chips and a hug on the way to school. Or do you remember the times that he showed up to the baseball game and the trophy ceremony and the graduation? And those are the things that I remember, him being present. The money, I don't remember pretty much at all, for real. So to me, like, being present, I tell young dads all the time, bro, you don't have to have all the answers. You don't have to be rich. You just need to be there. Because that's what's most important. That's what they're going to remember, their time spent with their dad.
How old are your girls?
My oldest, Kayla, is 12. My youngest, Cameron, is 10. Okay.
And for you, well, this for both of y'all, like, when did you get it? Like, because I know for me, like, really get, like, being a dad, like, what your responsibility was it instant, or did it take some time? Because I know for me, like, being honest, like, I was young, I didn't know what the hell I was doing. It took, I want to say, I was probably like 6-7 years into, like, being a father when I fully understood what, like, my role was, like, what my job was.
For me, it was instant.
Okay.
Because I didn't have, a father growing up.
Okay.
The semblance that I had, or the father figure that I had he had 3 families.
Okay.
Oh. So he wasn't really, and he wasn't my biological father.
Okay.
Right? But he was in and out of, my life in that role, so to speak, part-time.
Okay.
So I knew I didn't want my kids to have that dad.
Okay.
I knew, like, I could physically feel those emotions and that disappointment when he didn't show up.
Oh, yeah.
So for me, I never wanted them to feel any of those feelings that I felt. So for me, I knew from the beginning that I just needed to be there. I didn't need all the answers. I didn't need all the money. I just needed to make sure that I was a very strong presence in their lives. I inherently feel like I'm a great person, so I figured, those traits, what I mean, those lessons will be passed on to them. Because my mom, God rest her soul, she did, in my opinion, a wonderful job working with what she had to work with.
I think it's funny you say cause my biggest regret with my dad, no matter what he did do that was good, I can only remember the stuff he didn't do, immediate. You know what I'm saying? I can pinpoint. I got the date. You know what I'm saying? So that speaks to you really do the money don't matter.
Right.
But yeah, for Ant, when did you get it?
Honestly, I've never looked at it like I've ever really gotten it. I've always looked at being a father as a constant reevaluation. So there's I do this a lot with work as well. I always try to put myself in a space where I'm the sixth man.
Okay.
So I'm never great at it. When when I'm in the game, I'm trying to constantly try to do things that help me stay in the game.
Okay.
But I'm never looking at it I'm comfortable enough. I'm starting. I got that confidence. So I've always felt like I've kind of looked at it from a standpoint of always just evaluating to make sure I'm where I should be. Because sometimes you get pulled out the game and you got to sit there and assess what went wrong. So I've always looked at it as an ongoing thing and never really looked at it all right, I got it.
Yes, that's a great analogy. I never looked at it like that. Damn, that's dope. I can't.
Because when you think about it, when they're little kids, they hit they're 3 to let's say 2 to 4. It's not too much of a difference in the things that you have to do for them.
Right.
But then they become 5. Now they're in school.
Mm-hmm.
The things that they need, the things you have to provide for them, it changed.
Right.
So you get it down. So let's say 5 to let's say 8, 9. Cool. Now they going from 4th grade to middle school.
Right.
There's a difference there.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta provide. They need certain things that they didn't need years before. So I just always felt like I've never really looked at it all right, I got it. I've always looked at it as an assessment.
Okay.
Where am I at? What do I need to do?
I know, so you got a teenager, because I for me, as my girls got older, it was always difficult for me to take a step back and let them fuck up or let them do stuff on their own. So,
right.
How did you was that easy, an easy transition for you, or did you struggle with it? You know what I'm saying?
So I think it was an easier transition because of the way my parents kind of navigated with me.
Okay.
So I feel like there's a certain level of for lack of a better term, kind of letting the leash go longer, because I never wanted for instance, my dad would always say to me when I was younger, I'm preparing you for life. So in the event that I go, you may be hurt because I'm gone, but you're not distraught because you need me.
Right. Okay.
You only develop that when you start to let them further out and experience things for themselves. Now, not far enough that you're losing them,
right,
but far enough that it's a healthy, letting them know if you fall down and you hit the ground hurts. If I grab you every time you get to fall, you don't know that that's going to hurt if you eventually hit the ground. So that's kind of the way I've always looked at my daughter.
Okay. How do y'all discipline your kids?
Whoop ass.
I gotta say I am still a firm believer in that. But here's the thing. I think each of my daughters, it only happened to them once.
Okay.
And I hadn't had to, do it again, simply because, that was all they needed to kind of get it, right? Some kids need more. Yeah. Some kids don't listen. Some kids are disrespectful, but I don't have that with my girls. But like Ann said, when you're constantly evolving as a father, you pick up new tools along the way.
Okay.
Right? So that's kind of where I am. I never feel a need to actually whoop their ass anymore.
Okay.
Because I developed some, new tools that are at my disposal. we all got the dad look like, you flip that switch and you make that face and hey, wait a minute, shit just got real. Wait, daddy, well, hold on. And you know what I mean. But another tool I'm a firm believer in is having that conversation with them, allowing them space to kind of, because I don't want to be looked at as a tyrant,
right,
dictator to my daughters, right? Because they're with me all the time. I like them to be able to express themselves. So that's another tool I use. Like, come on, let's have the conversations. Get it off your chest. Say what you need to say. Without fear any retribution. Right? Let's just get those feelings and those emotions out, because I want them to be well-rounded, emotionally mature, women coming up as well.
Shout out to you for having your kids. I'm like a big advocate for that. I think kids.
For me, I was blessed in a way where it wasn't like a fight or it wasn't nothing crazy. It was just, I just asked, like, they were 4 and 2, and I'm just like, they can stay here, kind of thing. And she was like, okay, right? So I didn't have to, like, I shout out
all
to
the money he spent.
Oh my God.
No, so I think the difference is, honestly, is that she had already had 2 older kids. So then when I came along, we had 2 young kids. She kind of was like,
I'm over it.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that, because she's
not like I'm over it, but like I've been doing this.
I see she's active, but I see her. I saw her comment on your daughter's show, so
she's definitely active. Salute to her. I've never been to child support. I never had any of that, so I'm blessed in that way as well. For me, like I said, I take the responsibility. So, sidebar right quick. I have fun with my daughters.
Okay.
Like, we have a good time. We go places, we do things, seeing their maturation and those morals and those lessons. You don't think it's getting through, right? But when they're put in the circumstances for it to, come through and manifest itself, like, you see that it's working. That's like one of the greatest rewards, being a father. So yeah, for me, just I developed a bunch of different tools to make sure that, whooping ass is not, the end all be all.
I don't. So I've had to put hands on all my kids before, but mostly when they were like probably smaller. As they got older, the look works, raising your voice. The last year, I've actually went away from the yelling part of it, because I saw something that said, especially in the morning, I saw something that said, like, no matter whatever your kid did was wrong, unless you're trying to burn the house down, like, when you yell at them in the morning, it completely offsets their day.
I hated it. That was one of the greatest things about moving out of my mom and dad house. I ain't had to hear my mom yelling every morning.
Yep. And it'd be times where I'd be like pissed off, but I'd be like, if I deliver the message calmer,
right,
it's a safer landing, and it could be a different result. But if I just yell at her because she woke up late or whatever, is a teacher call, whatever's going on. Like, the teacher called, Gabby's teacher called me while I was at work yesterday. It's Friday. Oh yeah, that was yesterday. So, and it was some stuff, some assignments she didn't turn in. But normally now, probably 5 years ago, I'd have called her, ran, But then I understand, one, my kid is smart as hell. She didn't not turn to work because she didn't want to do it. She's overwhelmed. She got a job. She's doing stuff. So when I called her, that was the conversation. Hey, do you need to work less days? Because I'm not worried about your intelligence. I know you're smart as hell.
Right.
You're smarter than me. Like, I know you're intelligent. So we know you can do the work. And we had to teach her in 3 weeks. So, like, we all talking about the same thing. Like, what is it? What's too much for you? Like, right. And it was just a different conversation instead of just calling and because it's not productive. Because I had to think about when I was a kid. Like I said, like, when you yelled at me, it kind of went in one ear out the other. I was just like, what is wrong?
That's actually really dope from 2 perspectives. The fact that the teacher and you have that relationship that y'all can have it, and then the fact that y'all had a conversation with her. Not everybody just yelling at her because of what's at hand. That's actually really dope.
Yeah, because it's like about knowing your kids. Like, I know, like, all my kids, like, they know what the expectations is, but we know that we have smart kids. So like, when there's an issue in school, we know it's not an intelligent issue. So, and I always I go second, like, all right, is it something you don't understand? Because I know you're smart. So if it's something about the work you're struggling with, then say that. But most of the time it's not. It's because, I forgot or I fell asleep, this and that. All right, so you need to plan better. You need to figure out your day better. Maybe instead of working 4 days a week, you need to work 3 days a week. Maybe you just need to work weekends. And I just make sure she understood the priority is school.
Right.
That's the part, because you don't have to work. I allow you to work because you want your own money, but you
Right.
don't have to work. Thank God, like, we're blessed.
Right.
But you don't have to work. This is so that you can have your own money. So she got to understand. So I said, you got a week to and then we going back to look at these grades. And if I feel like you need to change, then you only work weekends. But there's no yelling or nothing like that.
Well, I don't actually whoop ass. it was a joke. One thing that I actually really appreciated about my parents is that as I got older, I realized that although me and my sisters were under the same roof, we were raised completely different from one another.
For sure.
So one thing that I learned is that, like, I'm going to say ass whoopings went away for me as a child really young in the game. So I want to say I might have got a whooping up until maybe about 10 might have been the last real ass whooping I got.
Okay.
But the punishments changed. I remember one time my mom was like, hey, I want you to do this essay. It's due by Friday. But if you do the essay before Friday and you get it done, you good. So by Wednesday I did it, took it to my mom. She brought it up. She's like, man, get that shit out of here. Do that shit again. And I ended up not getting a punishment until Friday. So, but it was a punishment that was more effective because I was in my room like, just beat my ass, please. But I learned the art of it's different methods to getting your point across. You don't necessarily have to do the physical thing. Because my sister, my parents had this one punishment. It was called prison. I feel like prison has came up a lot with us today. But we had to stay in our room. We couldn't come out our room if you had to go to the bathroom. Yo, I gotta go to the bathroom. Don't let your ass get caught out their room if you didn't ask. When we ate our food, one of the siblings would bring the food up on a tray, and then they come back and pick it up. So for me, people look at me and see that I have this outgoing personality, but I really enjoy being secluded and isolated during the week where I'm not dealing with people.
Okay.
So that punishment did nothing for me. I mean, yo, I gotta go to the bathroom. Well, I'm just gonna take my chance to get my ass beat. It didn't bother me. My younger sister said that punishment killed her. She was she would go insane. But my mom was like, Aunt, I know you. You never had a problem with being isolated. So she was like, for you, that punishment was whatever. We kept him in his room. So he got that aspect of the punishment. Well, my sister, she said, your sister thrives off of social interactions. So if she's not thriving socially, it's a punishment for her.
Okay.
So I was like, damn. But I learned the art of not only changing the way you punish a child for it to be effective, everybody isn't going to be able to get the same punishment.
Right. I want to go back to something you said right quick about how you handled that situation with your daughter. And I wanted to highlight that because there's an added benefit to handling it that way. And what I'm finding out when I told you, one of my tools is let's just have the conversation.
Right.
The added benefit to that, and I want all the dads to make sure they hear this, is that added benefit is they trust you more.
Yeah.
We all as dads want our kids to be able to come to us with any and everything.
Yeah.
But if they don't feel like coming to you is a safe space and y'all can have that conversation and that dialogue, they're never going to do it.
At all.
So take a page out of, your book and my book, young dads. Actually, talk to your kids.
Yeah, it's important. I think I like the fact that especially what I know is as my kids get older and I guess a legal age, my 20-year-old, she talks to me about everything. She don't hold back on nothing now. It's now she feel like she always had that freedom, but now that she's an adult, she feels she can talk directly about anything if it's somebody I'm dating or something with her mom. No, this is how I feel about that. Fuck that.
Right.
She can, she's I don't have a problem with them cussing because that's our relationship. It's not disrespectful. You're in the moment.
You're expressing yourself.
Yeah, you're expressing yourself. So it's definitely important for you, especially with girls.
Right. Give them kids a safe space to express themselves.
One thing that I wanted to highlight that you said too was also when you said we go out and we do things. I remember when I was in Japan for 2 years, and when I came back, I told my daughter, you know what, we're going downtown one day and we're going to visit all the landmarks. So we started at the Liberty Bell and just kind of worked our way all the way around Independence Hall. Now for her, she was just like, well, we did this in school. that was great. For me, I'm 27 and I've never seen a Liberty Bell.
Yeah.
And I went back and I told my parents, and my mom like instantly like started apologizing. I said, I didn't bring that up to like throw it in your face like, I finally went. You never did that for me. I was like, I looked at it and I look at certain things that I didn't like and I try to do differently. So
Right.
I created, like, my parents worked a lot. So my dad has probably just recently started to ease back a little bit with the way he worked. Because he would go to work Monday through Friday, and on the weekends he was taking care of the properties that we own in our family. My mom would take the weekend to, like, that's when she would do like the heavy cleaning and stuff like that in the crib. So there was never really breaks where they could go out and do too much. Now they took us on vacations and stuff, so I don't want to make it seem like they never did anything.
Right.
But I looked at it like, I mean, on a regular basis, we didn't really do much.
Right.
So I wanted to create experiences for my daughter where she could, like, later on then, like, I remember when I was younger and my dad took me to such and such. She had those experiences.
Okay. Yeah, I would say I kind of similar to what you said, like with my upbringing. I didn't like how, like, I mean, because we grew up poor, so I didn't like how, like, my parents, well, my mom, because I was raised by my mom and grandma, they always had to tell me no, because it was like a financial thing.
Right.
So, like, now, in return, I probably work more than what I should, but to be able to make sure they have everything they need, which in the long term is good. They're able to not have to, like, go out and do things on their own and stuff like that. But it's definitely, I think your childhood definitely plays a role in how you raise your kids.
Yeah, like my kids, the one huge thing for me growing up was we never had name brand cereal. My kids never had any generic cereal, bro. They
always had like
crispy rice.
What's the one with the king in the tub?
Brains,
the king in the tub.
King Vitamin.
King Vitamin.
Yeah.
Bro, tell her this was I guess the knockoff
Honey
Captain
Oats.
Crunch. Honey
Crocodile Crunch.
Bro, yes, I'm telling you, like, my kids don't know generic cereal, and that was just that mental thing with me, because it was always growing up. We never had. It was like Murray's. Like, now, don't get me wrong.
I was about to say
Murray's.
about the shit on the Murray's.
No, Murray's was clutch for the burgers and the barbecue sauce, steakums, the chicken patties, the
wingdings,
fish sticks, the wingdings.
Right.
Yeah, they was clutch for all that stuff. But the cereal was horrible.
Yeah,
right.
It was terrible.
Until you had like real Honey Nut Cheerios, you had those Nut O's or whatever the hell bro, you didn't know what it was. So my kids, and that was just a mental, you know what I mean, some PTSD for me. They'll never have generic cereal.
The fake Captain Crunch don't even like hurt the top of your mouth.
Yeah.
Real Captain Crunch
It go from hard to mush in 2.2 seconds.
Straight soup.
Yeah.
When y'all in like relationships, how do you allow your partner to discipline your kids? And not so much physically, but if it is physical, that's a question. But physical, verbal, like if you're living with a partner, or if your girlfriend is over for the weekend, your daughter, you step out. Like, you know what I'm saying? She's the authority now.
Right.
So like, how do you allow them to step in and be the disciplinarian? And if so, like, how do you do it?
So me personally, I've never had like a live-in girlfriend.
Okay.
And my daughter's mother is the primary caretaker for my daughter.
Okay.
So it's never been too many times where it's overlapped where I've been put in that situation.
Okay.
But me as a person that has been in that situation, I would say that I've always looked at it like I'm going to correct your child, but I think the discipline should always come from the parent.
Okay.
So I'll correct and like, I'm going to tell your mom and tell the mom I feel like it's up to them. I don't feel like if that's not my child, I don't feel like I should be putting my hands on that child.
Okay.
Unless it's my friend Victoria kids, because I beat all her kids' ass.
That kid's bad.
Them kids
Wow.
bad.
Wow. I've never. My daughters has never really met anybody I dated.
Okay.
Like, at all. And it's for a reason.
That's super responsible.
It's for a reason. Because I like, if you want to be in my kids' lives, like, I need to know, like, you the one.
Okay.
Kind of thing.
Okay.
Because I am going to allow you make some corrections. I am, if needed, discipline as well. Okay. I'm okay with that. But you know how much I have to trust you. You know how solid our foundation has to be in order for me to allow that. And see, the worst thing as a girl dad, you want your girls to see is your house to be a turnstile for women. Yep. They're gonna think that's okay. I never wanted my daughters to think that was okay. So they've never met anybody, or I've never introduced them to anybody that I was dating. Because I just don't know how serious it is, and I want them to know that daddy is responsible, and when I meet that person, they're going to be around for a long time, and you can trust them. I'm not going to bring anybody around my daughters that I don't trust or that I don't think can teach them something. Okay. Like, I need them to be, not just a stepmom, but a role model, somebody for them to aspire to, to look up to and aspire to be. So it's super important to me in that way to make sure that I'm responsible enough to make the right choice. Okay. Like, cause I've been picking bad.
Was that a fancy way of saying you don't bring none of your hoes home? You just take them to the blue moon?
Never to the blue moon. ever to the blue moon. Okay. But yes, that was a fancy way of me saying, like, I don't. Yeah.
Now, what about as a step parent? Have you ever dated anybody with kids?
I have, and I think one of the biggest, like I said, my kid's mom, she had 2 kids prior to meeting me.
Boys or girls?
One boy, one girl, with the girl being the oldest. Okay. And one of the biggest issues that we had living together, because like I said, when I found out I was having my first daughter, Kayla, I moved out of the city. Okay. Right? And of course I had to move her too, right?
Right.
So, now she's coming with her kids. So now we're a blended family. Right. And that whole correction and discipline thing was a huge problem in our household. Okay. Because she wanted me to kind of, you can correct, but no discipline. Mm-hmm. Now, you living in my motherfucking house. Okay? I'm going to correct. I'm going to do whatever. Now, this is not me on some power trip because I want to meet the kid's father. Right. I want to establish a mutual respect so that you know where I am mentally and like, I ain't just in here tripping on your kids. I'm a responsible adult, right? Your kids are in a safe space, right? So I always, looked at it like, a man would want to meet another man. Yes, and if he don't, he ain't there for the right reasons. You shouldn't be with him anyway. Right. So, but she never kind of made that happen or let that happen in that way. Okay. By the time we got to meet, it was like animosity involved. Mm-hmm. So it took a long time to get to a place where we could sit down as men and have a conversation without there potentially being fireworks. Right. Mm-hmm. Right. So for me, my message to women, right, who are looking to bring a man around their kids is, number one, wait to make sure that this is the person you want to be with. 2, make sure you make that introduction. Yep. Because real men are gonna want to speak to. It's just like if I'm dating, I'm gonna want to talk to you. Yeah, sure. Like, bro, where you at mentally? It's some things I want to know. Like, like, what do you think about discipline? What's your religious belief? This, that, and other thing.
Yeah. I got daughters.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, ladies, be very selective and be extremely careful about who you bring around your kids. And if you're gonna bring them around, make sure they're there for the long haul, and introduce the men. Like, we not savages. Don't believe or feed into that stereotype that all men are savages and baby daddies always want to be with the baby mamas, and if they can't have it, no, it's not like that. Like, grown men gonna do grown men shit. Yeah, that's not. We gonna sit at that table and have a conversation and make sure I'm where you need to be when you around my child. Seriously. Okay, and I want you to have my number. Right. So if you have to make a correction, call me before it get to the discipline. Right. Yeah. And we can have that conversation. And if I say, do the discipline, all right, or I'll come handle it. Right. But at the end of the day, it should be a conversation where we can have like that. But if your baby daddy is a knucklehead or a dickhead or something like that, number one, choose better. But number 2, make sure you're dating someone who's going to be there for the long haul, because they not going. That person, if they're there for you, they know they have to be there for your kids as well.
Right.
It's a package deal.
Yeah, I would say two things. So I really don't want anybody. I don't have a problem with anybody verbally disciplining my daughters, but I don't want no other man putting hands on my daughters. I do think boys are different though, because Jordan has a brother. When me and her mom were together, I had to punch him in the chest one day. Not like a Mike Tyson punch, y'all. Like, you know, like let him know, like, ho, like, you know what I'm saying? I'm a man, and I mean, he's a couple years older than Jordan, but he was doing something, so I had to like tap him, like to wake him up, because he don't have a father. He has a father, but he don't have a father that's like
consistent.
A man.
Okay,
His dad, he's inexperienced. He's more like he's focused on the wrong stuff. He's more of a he's like, I guess like on a control type. Like I only want to be a dad when it's time to look like a dad.
Gotcha.
You
So
want
like,
to do it for the gram.
yeah,
social media.
Yeah,
parent.
I was more like he was doing something in the house, and I was like, yo, stop. And he bucked up at me like, sir, like I had to let him know I was a man. And we never had a problem ever since, like to this day. But I definitely think with boys, obviously there's a conversation should be had. But I definitely think if it's a man in the house and you have a son and he's looking at that man as the man in the house. That's who's leading him every day.
Right.
Yeah.
He has a father, but that man's leading him every day.
That's a great point.
You gotta set that foundation for you to respect me.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? You gotta understand. You gotta take the trash out. You gotta understand. You know what I'm saying? Like these are important things.
What a lot of women don't understand is how manipulative these kids are.
Oh yeah.
For sure.
It was days I would look at her and be like, you playing, right? Like, you know he just did that or she just did that on purpose.
Right.
You know they went to grandma and said this and that to bring discord to the house so they could get away with whatever it is they try and get away with, right? And she had like these blinders on where she could never see it until it was over, and you kind of are faced with your own demons, right?
You're not
now
around.
I'm not around. Who is there to manipulate?
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, you got to deal with that.
Yeah, I can't get down with that. Do y'all believe? I work with women, but I kind of think it can go both ways. Do you think people trap people with babies, men and women?
The easy answer is yes, but it just depends. Like we all hear this, kids don't save no relationships, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But
Only magnifies the issues.
Exactly. But when you talking about, it depends on where you are in your life, in my opinion. If you are of a certain stature, financially, yeah, you most certainly can deliberately be trapped with a baby. We've seen the stories on social media and around the world, like, oh, she poked a hole in the condom. One woman got the condom out the trash, or out the toilet, or like they saved it. Like, so we hear those stories, like women absolutely do track men with getting pregnant. Men do the same thing. Women certain, type bad, I'm gonna put a baby in her.
Yeah. And
these motherfuckers don't even want to be dads. They just want to, say that's who they had the kid by.
Yep.
So I think, yes, people absolutely do that. And it's definitely premeditated.
I don't think it happens on a level of I don't think it happens on a large scale level. I think, are there some anomalies where somebody poked a hole in a condom and stuff like that? Yes. But I think a lot of times it's convenient to say she trapped me when I was just acting reckless. I could have wore a condom if, she might be a little bit more obsessed with me than what I thought, but I'ma still have unprotected sex with her. This nigga really threatened me and made me feel like he was gonna go upside my head, but I'ma let him shoot the club up, man. I'm a little hesitant on my birth control this month. Nah, I think it's a lot of times where people just don't be taking accountability for their actions. So it's easy to say, oh, that person trapped me with. Nah, I was living reckless. I should have known better.
So I ain't gonna say no names because I plan on being famous one day, so I don't want to get sued. But I have a child with somebody that literally told me to my face. Obviously, I was being reckless. Let's be accountable.
Right.
But she told me, no, when I met you, I knew I was gonna have a baby with you. And she told me that. I mean, at that point, I realized she was crazy. But there are people out there to do that, and I know dudes, like he said, that have told me yeah, man, I got one of them. I ain't gonna say who. Well, a very good friend of mine's has 2 kids by a guy, and I like obviously being reckless, but legitimately like trapped and left her with kids. You get what I'm saying?
Ooh.
So, and it was just more about it's kind of like when a dog or a cat pees on a couch. You know what I'm saying? And that's kind of how
territory.
Yeah, marking his territory. Yeah. So I think that shit happens like more often. I think it happens more like in like a regular neighborhood, like without money being involved, than it does for like a celebrity and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, we've all been sitting with our homies, and you see something walk by and like, yo, I'm putting a baby in that. Like, with no intention on ever being the damn dad.
I've never been that person.
Yeah, I mean, maybe when I was young, oh yeah,
but that's when it happens.
I probably said about a celebrity like, oh, yeah, if I ever got a chance, I'd get Ashanti pregnant, like it was something like that. But I ain't never just talking about Keisha from the block.
You right.
Yeah, I ain't never said that about from Keisha from up the street. Like, yeah, I'm good. Get her pregnant, let her ruin my life. Like, the hell is that?
Oh, get her pregnant and let her ruin my life is crazy.
Do y'all believe women of other cultures show up differently to a relationship than like our women, than black women? And when I mean like, I think social media got something to do with this, but like own money, domesticated, ready to be like a part of a relationship, a team, be submissive, understand what submissive is.
No, I think it's the same shit, just a different seasoning.
Elaborate.
I think that the problems that women are women. We're never going to always just agree with them.
Right.
So I think when we look at other cultures, I think it's easy to look at them like, oh, they got it made over there. Like, oh man, Puerto Rican women are so submissive and this, that, and third, and bad shit crazy. I think it's every ethnicity has that. What you say?
They will stab you.
Yeah, for sure. And then call all 20 of her older brothers. I think women is always going to be some kind of friction between men and women. I don't think just because she's of a different culture, she's automatically going to come in with a different subset of values that's going to be like, oh, man, we got it made.
Respectfully, I disagree, Ant.
Okay.
Only because there are cultural nuances when it comes to how women are raised in that culture.
Okay.
Again, will any woman submit? Yes, if they feel like they have the right person to submit to, yes. But some women coming in have an understanding about what their role is because that's the way they were raised.
Okay.
Right? Some women come from other cultures like, yo, the only way for me to do this is to be married.
Okay.
Some women come in like, yo, my husband is the breadwinner, the end all, be all, alpha, omega. I'm submitting to what he says because he runs our household. None of these scenarios are a bad thing because in those cultures, that's what happened. You have arranged marriages in certain cultures. You haven't met this person a day in your life, and your family said you guys are going to be together as a married couple. And she goes in with the understanding that this is going to be my husband. I'm going to submit to him. I'm going to give him kids. I'm going to take care of all his needs and this family that we create. Black women have been kind of like shit on for so long.
Yeah. Okay.
Like black women, I just believe they're so traumatized, keeping with that accountability, by black men that they had to develop, these certain mindsets to kind of feel like they have some leverage, maybe have an upper hand, or maybe feel equal in these relationships that they're coming into. It's been a campaign, something I've been saying for a while on my show. Like we got to protect black women. And you listen to people like, all right, well, I guess I jump in front of, I ain't jumping in front of no bullet for no bitch or something like. That's not necessarily what that means. Black women are targets from the inside out, from in the culture and outside the culture. Yeah. Right? They're fetishized by other ethnicities, right? Inside the culture, they are demeaned and hated on through colorism, right? And then body shaming, right? Because let's keep it real. Having a fat ass and big titties wasn't always fashionable,
right?
Yeah. So you got to understand, like, they have their own PTSD that they have to deal with in and out the culture. So they develop these mechanisms so that they can feel like they have some control over their situation and their lives. The bad part about that is, because this could get so much deeper with what they did in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, taking the men out the household.
Welfare, yeah.
And this is what I'm saying. Like, so this conversation can get so wild. But to answer your question, yes, there is a difference, but it's not, any fault of their own. Like, men, black men, we have to do a better job of taking care of our black women. We have to show them something different. Black women have to do a better job of being more selective of the black men they allow in their space and procreate with. I think the responsibility falls on both of us.
I think so. I think some of the trauma is passed down like generationally.
Absolutely.
But I also think like for our generation, and I'm gonna include all three of us, like the women have to be, or there's got to be a way for them to be more trusting, because our generation of black men aren't necessarily doing the things that our uncles and great uncles was doing in the 70s and 80s. We're not on crack. We're not selling crack. We're not going to jail. We actually got jobs. We got careers. We take care of our kids. We don't cheat. You know what I'm saying? And I get like the previous generation of women went through those things, but their daughters didn't experience that stuff. They're hitting the dating field with that mindset of, black men ain't shit. Not all, but just they're liars, they're cheaters, they still.
But see, that goes back to that cultural difference we were just discussing. I just told you that some marriages are arranged, and some cultures you go in submitting to that man.
Right.
Black women are being raised like, girl, you better have a secret bank account.
Yeah.
So that if it don't work, or when it don't work, you got something to fall back on. Those prearranged marriages don't have anything to fall back on.
Okay.
Those women in other cultures who go into those relationships with those men who submit immediately don't have anything else to fall back on. So it's like they're being conditioned for failure, right, so to speak. And men, black men in the community, we're being conditioned similarly, right? When it comes to black women. Like, bro, I don't trust these hoes. Hoes ain't shit, but you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
No,
when you think about that, that level of conditioning on both sides, we're doomed to fail unless we start to unlearn some of this shit.
Yeah.
Right? We had that show on that people got pissed at me. Y'all got to do a better job at dating. Y'all ain't asking the right questions.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And they like, oh, you mean you gonna ask her credit score? Yeah, I want to know. What am I getting myself into?
That tells me if you're responsible.
Come on, bro. Like certain questions, like, yo, do you want more kids? Some people, that's a deal breaker. You understand what I'm saying? Like, yo, you file taxes and and people are up in arms. Oh, some stuff is just too. No, it's not. It's not. Sticking your dick in somebody recklessly is not too personal, and asking a question that is wild to me. So that's probably why I'm single, because I be asking, I guess, crazy questions.
Yeah, I think, like, I agree with you. Like, it's kind of insane, because these same people, men and women that say that those questions are too, like, deep, will sleep with the opposite person on the first night.
No, what makes me mad is
no condom.
They feel like they was bamboozled.
Right.
I was meeting representative. No. You asked first of all, it's hard nowadays. It's way too hard for you to get bamboozled, right?
Yeah, it's
like,
too much information out there.
It's too much information out there. For $9.95, I can tell you what Ant's social security number is, where he live at, his date of birth, all that. I can see the But no, realistically speaking, like if you get bamboozled, it's because you wanted to get bamboozled. Yeah. You wanted to ignore the flags because you was thinking, downstairs instead of upstairs. Like, as we know, a lot of men and women, it's the circus. They run around collecting these red flags, and then when it don't work, they want to pass the buck.
Yeah, I'm quick now to like I notice, like, if I'm like talking to somebody and I'm trying to get out on a date, it's a turn off for me if they like, oh, let's chill in the crib. That's really a turn off for me. Because I'm 37. I have
better.
daughters.
I do you one better. that right there. I had a woman tell me one time. First of all, she bamboozled me.
Uh-oh.
No, it was the bait and switch. She hit me up. She hit me up on some business shit, right?
Okay.
So we was having the business conversations. Next thing she knows, she like, yo, you single? I'm like, yeah. It was just like casual. Like, it just came up and, when we was talking about business, and I'm like, yeah, I'm single, yada, yada, my God. Next couple messages was like, here's a shot of my titties. Here's a shot of my ass. Like, whoa, what are you doing? I'm cool. I'm not even in that state of mind.
That text thread?
Yeah, I can show it to you. But yeah, so now I'm no longer interested in business or anything personal.
Right.
So now, because I'm not interested in anything business or personal, now there's something wrong with me.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what I know? Older women, now I'm starting to
Now I'm sassy.
Older women lead with that now. Like younger girls, and I'll say like 30 and under, they actually are like date and stuff like that. But I notice like women my age, and I feel like when I notice that, I feel like that's like you need therapy. I feel like if you feel like you only can resort to like something sexual to get my attention, when you already, I'm making it clear you ain't gotta do that. That means you have nothing else to offer.
Yeah.
Nothing.
And you know what goes through my mind and why I turn and run immediately? Because to me, it's like, if you sent that to me.
I mean, other times you
Right. Dealt it, bro. Right. How many other people got these same Jones in their phone?
You know, I actually seen that happen one time. I was out. And one of my homies was like, yeah, do you talk to such and such? So my other homie was like, I might have ended up on the phone a couple times. Why? So he was like, yo, she be telling me she like me. I'm younger if I was a little bit older. But she sent me these pictures, and no lie, he pulled out his phone, same exact 3 or 4 pictures, and I was just like, damn, she be running it up like that.
Yeah, and like you said, I'll be famous one day. I don't need that.
No, seriously, I really think like a grown man now. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't need that. You know what I'm saying? I'm 22-year-old me, maybe.
Yeah,
but
you for sure would have got me with that.
Oh, word? This was
what's the adding? I'm 37. It's like, you know what? I done had so many booty pics in my day. You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't impress me. What do y'all think we could do better as men to show up to these relationships?
So women always, you hear it, it's cliche for them to say, show up healed.
Nobody ever shows up.
And I always say, there's no such thing as being healed. Like, you don't know how you're going to respond to those similar situations unless you're in that situation. And you see how you respond to those triggers. Right? So what's better and how I think men need to show up to these relationships is with understanding.
Okay.
Understand she's not going to be perfect, but she can be perfect for you. Okay. Understand that she's not going to check off all 25 of the boxes that you need or you think you need to have a great relationship. Understand coming into it that men, we need to do a better job of dating our women. What do I mean by dating our women, right? Yes, I mean go out. But dating and courting somebody encompasses a lot of different things. I absolutely need to be mentally stimulated. Right? We can go to dinner, we can have great conversations, we can talk on the phone, on that. Challenge me in some way, because I'm going to challenge you. So we need to show up more creative and show up with the intent and honesty. If you just want to hit, brothers, I promise you, there are women who only want to hit just like we only want to hit. Show up honest, show up transparent, and ready to do the work. Relationships are work. They shouldn't be hard work, but they are work. Show up ready to work.
First and foremost.
I was going to ask her, but she fell asleep.
So what was the question again? How do we need to?
How do you think us as black men can show up better to these relationships, better prepared?
I think for
the exact question was, what can we do as men to show up to the relationships better?
I think it's a lot of what what he just touched on. And I mean, me personally, I show up and I'm evaluate. Like you said, I'm not looking at this person to have all the boxes checked. I look at the person, see what they have, and kind of evaluate. All right, this is what the person has, X, Y, Z. Is this something that I can work with, or is something in here so critical that I don't think I would be able to go forward with it, and kind of go from there. Whereas, like, in the past, I did come with these high expectations, and not that I was like making sure that everybody had like fit in this box that I was looking at, but I felt like my expectations at one point were really unrealistic.
Okay.
Whereas I started to look at it like, all right, this is what the person has. Can I deal with it? Go forward, see how things kind of vibe, and then also like with my theory of parenting, they're like 6-man mentality where you evaluating and like, am I doing enough to stay in the game, and am I doing something that's going to put me on the bench? You know, when I'm on the bench, I'm thinking about what I gotta do to get back in the game.
Right.
That's kind of the mindset that I have about that as well.
I think, like, for us, like you said, being honest, asking the right questions. But for me, like, I'm super observant. So when, like, I'm talking to somebody, I'm dating somebody, I'm watching how their interaction is with, like, a waiter, if their mom called, if the baby dad called, if the kid called, if the job called. I'm looking at your reactions, and then I'm also taking the information about stuff that's going on in your life. Like, if I notice, like, you always complaining about, like, bills are late and stuff like that, but every time your job calls you for OT, you turning it down, that's a red flag. Because that tells me that you're irresponsible too. Like, that's not a priority. You know what I'm saying? If you can't have a conversation with the person you got a child with, without arguing and stuff like that, all right, you probably can't have a kid with me. You know what I'm saying? Not that I want anymore.
Right.
But for me, like, showing up, I'm very honest myself. Like, I'm dating long term. I'm dating to marry and stuff like that. So that's like immediate. Like, you gotta let me know immediate. Like, this is where I see myself in 5 years and 10 years.
Right.
And if that shit don't align, like, you gotta, like you said, you gotta ask these questions early. Ain't no need for me to be waiting 6 months, catching feelings, and then find out, like, oh yeah, I had no intention on getting married. It's like, what? Like, that's, you know, we done both wasted our time.
Yeah. Also, shout out to your neighbor DJ Cosmic K.
Yeah, they like
but no, also
this is definitely Rancho Cucamonga.
Also, what I do is, I mean, I ask questions, but questions that involve, like, what does your past look like? And I actually like to ask people about their exes, to try to get like a baseline for how they are in relationships. Not only that, one thing that I look at in these stories is I'm real big on, like, telling a story the way it happened, not telling a story to make you look good.
Right.
So if a person tells me a story, and out of all these stories, they can't tell me one aspect where they were doing something wrong in this relationship, or they did wrong, they were always done wrong and don't understand this, that, and the third, that's always a red flag for me.
Could they think there's a
Fat face
Right.
down liar.
Somewhere along the way, you not being realistic with yourself.
And they allergic to accountability as
Yeah.
well.
I'm gonna skip that question. I'm gonna come back to that because I feel like I don't know why that's there. Do y'all think a marriage benefits a man in this day and age?
Oh, you knew what you was gonna do with that question.
Wow.
Take it away.
Not 10 years ago, not 50 years ago. Right now in 2024. And if it does, tell me how it does, and if it doesn't, tell me how. Because I know how it doesn't. I don't know how it does.
So with this country being as litigious as it is, right? There's really no reason for anybody to ever waste the time or the money to get married. Now watch, I know they going. I feel the darts coming through the. I feel it. I understand where you're coming from. The institute of marriage, in my opinion, is a very archaic idea. Let me be transparent. Let me be transparent for a second. Yes, I'd like to be married.
Like what?
Right. But the idea, like, everything has evolved, right? How you purchase a car, how you purchase a house, how you get a phone, how you do anything in this world has evolved. The institution of marriage has not evolved and kept up with the times. The Bible evolved, right?
Wow.
The whole New Testament,
Which is wild.
which is crazy, right? The institution of marriage has not evolved. Now, OG, well, I don't know if it was his idea, but I'm going to attribute it to OG. He said that marriages you should be able to renew them like licenses.
I did hear him say that,
Yo.
and that was crazy.
Here's
And a wildly interesting idea. I would be looking to visit that.
Abso-freaking-lutely. But the idea of marriage as the way it's constructed right now feels very outdated and archaic to me. There's really no benefit to getting married other than saying you're married and you spent 50 or whatever you spent on a wedding and vacate or honeymoon. Because through the right legal document, you have power of attorney over me if I get sick or anything. You have power of attorney over my estate to get the money or whatever. You don't need a marriage certificate for a lot of at this point it's just for tax purposes. And when you look at the rate, I'm not going to get into the number because people like to hotly dispute that. Point is, a lot of people who get married get divorced.
It's like 80% or something like that. I know, like
whatever it is, because they like to argue about that number. I'm not going to argue about that. The point is, they fail, and they fail at a higher rate than like if I think Bill Burr had a joke like if you went skydiving, he said 50% of all marriages fail, and it's a coin flip whether or not your parachute would open. Would you be lining up to go do it? People are lining up to go get married to fail because the way it's constructed today is very archaic, it's outdated, and it needs to be revamped. They need to go back and take a look at how marriages work, the benefits of the marriage, because as they are constructed today, to answer your question, I don't think it benefits anybody.
I think it's 80% of marriage divorces are initiated by the women in our community. It's like 80 or 75%.
I think I heard Kev say that one day.
Yeah.
So yeah, I believe that.
Yeah, if I get married, I'm not getting divorced. That's
what
just gonna
what
be
did
it.
Blair Underwood do in that movie? He opened the door and said, "There's only one way out."
It's only one.
What you think, Ant?
Wait. Back to the question. What was the question again?
Hey, yo.
Because we went down a path and my mind went away from the
marriage
question.
benefit of man in 2024.
In 2024, I don't necessarily think it benefits the man unless he's going into a situation where the woman is just more well off than what he is. I personally, I would like to be married one day, maybe. It changes from time to time when I sit back and reflect on it. But outside of love and wanting companionship with a person, I don't think there's no real benefit outside of the like religious rituals and
Then I question the word love then, because if half of all these fucking things fail, do you understand what love is and what it means? Like that's wild to me. Like,
So
love will never ever be enough. In my humble opinion, will never be enough.
it'll never be enough because that's just like there's somebody I cut off that I love them dearly, but
And probably still do love them,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. But I got deal breakers. I got things that I just can't accept. You know what I'm saying, in a relationship or being a stepmother or being a girlfriend or being a wife. You know what I'm saying? There are just things like no matter how much you love a person, you can do that in friendships. You're a great friend. I love you enough, but these things that you're doing, if you decide to start doing crack and smoking heroin, like just usually, I don't have any friends that's on drugs. Just using that for an example,
right?
Like you can't come to my house because like you gonna steal some electronics and shit. Like so, I think
I'm about to walk out with something today.
Damn. You got it, cuz.
That's a nice TV.
No, it's not. No, it's not, guys. No, it's a 22-inch TV. It's it.
I assure you, there is not coming to Rancho Cucamonga for the TV or nothing else.
But no, yeah, like I think, like you said, like love can't be the double. I think you marrying somebody, it has to be like the other things. Like, can I trust that person? Can I be vulnerable with them? Will they take care of me if I'm sick? Will they take care of my kids? Will I take care of them? or if it push come to shove, I'm willing to wipe the shit out their ass.
No.
Like, I'm just saying, like these are things
Those
that
are real things, though, man.
yeah, like you know what I mean. That
You
you
face
think
it.
about.
Yeah,
Yeah,
people get in relationships and somebody gets sick, and next thing you know, they don't show up. Like in a relationship / marriage, you have to make the conscious decision to show up every single day,
no matter what.
no matter what.
And I think in this day and age, with the times, it's very hard because everything is so accessible.
Yeah.
If one problem in your relationship, and then you got this phone, which is why I love to take breaks from social media, but you got this phone and you got these girls on social media, shaking their ass, sending you booty pics.
Shout out to the Instagram models.
OnlyFans, like all this stuff that's at your disposal.
Right.
And it makes you look at your partner. You quickly forget all the good that your partner has done, has been doing, and will do because of these two bad things or these problems they're going through right now. The same thing women with men. They go on Instagram, they got all these men on their DMs they've been ignoring for the whole 6 years of relationship. But now something happened with you guys.
But see, that's another thing. Why that person ain't blocked yet? And see, there's certain stuff that just I be like you invite into your situation. Make that marriage license every 2 years. It costs you $1,000 to renew it, or it's free to absolutely dissolve the shit, and that'll tell you whether or not that person want to be with you for another 2 years.
That leads us to the next question.
It's like, so do we really want to go back into this?
Do you think people are waiting for each other at the finish line? Mostly women, but I ain't want to like keep gearing it towards women. But do you think people are waiting for like the person they want, like? And when I say the finish line, waiting mostly in reverse, because I've never dated a woman and necessarily cared about her financials, like other than like credit. I don't care how much money she has. I want her to have a job. But do you think that sometimes women are waiting for, like, it's kind of like we talked about this a couple weeks ago, how like the girl that didn't pay you no mind when you was 22,
right?
When you was like struggling trying to figure it out, and then now like everything is good with your life. And now they're like in your DMs. Now they ask, you know what I'm saying? They're letting you know that they're interested.
Right.
Because you're where, you know, you're supposed to be in life. As where before, I'm the same person. I look the same, just a few more grays.
Right.
But, you know what I'm saying? Do you think people are waiting for people at the finish line?
Yeah. Short answer, yeah. I mean, I get it. I mean, why sit there when you like watching somebody make the pizza when I can just pull up and get the finished slice? I mean, I get it. Is it right? No. And if you allow it to happen, I mean, that's on you. But short answer, yeah, I could definitely see that.
I think, and I don't, like you said, want to get, because I think men and women do it. Women do it at a higher rate because as women, like, they understand they have a window, right? Before that proverbial, what Kev you say, that wall.
It goes to that 37-year-old sending booty pics.
You see what I'm saying? So they have a window of time where they're going to be at their peak, right? So they have just that short amount of time to make a decision on whether or not they're going to do something with themselves so that they can independently take care of themselves if they have to, or some women use that window to get the enhancements to drive around the track, to sit at the finish line and wait for the person they deem financially fit enough to take care of them for the rest of their life. Because it's kind of strange, you kind of go full circle, right? If they were dating right, you wouldn't fall for that trap.
Oh,
right. If you what else did we? If you were dating correctly, you wouldn't fall for that trap because you have all the necessary information at your disposal. But you also wouldn't fall for that. Just that fucks me up because it makes me think I'm in a hospital every time you go on. Because my mom worked at a nursing home too for like 30 years, and that was one of the staples in there. But what was my point? Make better decisions or date better. You wouldn't get caught at the finish line. Getting trapped by a baby, it wouldn't happen. Again, if you're dating more responsibly, you can't get trapped, right? Because you understood what you was getting. and let's just be honest, fellas. Cat Williams said it. Niggas, some that we know we ugly. We got a big nose. We just get over it fast, like Cat Williams said. I damn sure got a big bell pepper nose. Niggas like I'm ugly. I understand. Niggas know, had they not secured the bag, this woman in front of them would never ever speak to them, would never ever talk to them. So they know, but you can't get trapped if you taking the necessary steps to date properly. You can't get trapped by a pregnancy. You can't get caught by a woman waiting on you at the finish line. The best thing she would be able to get from you is fluid out, protected, make sure you secure the condom, fellas, and then get up out of there. So again, men, I always say this, I say it about myself. I'm not gonna say this about none of our brothers, but men are stupid inherently. Like, we need help. We need help from women. And I don't think we can't exist without each other. We just need to figure out how to stop complaining about our differences and how to start complimenting each other.
Also, fellas, condoms are cheaper than diapers.
Facts.
So, like, absolutely strap up.
Absolutely.
Strap out, pull out game, something.
Latex.
Yeah. Don't let a girl tell you she allergic to latex. Yeah, that's girls do that too. Like guys saying that guys got the trick. Oh, I forgot to bring the condom. Girls' favorite line is, "I'm allergic to latex." Don't fall for the trap, folks. Not saying I fell for the trap.
Or the positive pregnancy test picture.
Yeah.
Get that quick.
Yeah,
couple of hours out you.
Yeah, that's filthy.
Nah, let's go to the Planned Parenthood together.
Okay,
Actually, I ain't got it, so just tell them that you got raped.
Oh my god.
Oh.
Y'all didn't know that trick?
No, sir.
When it comes to dating, what you think? Do you date them all or date one person at a time? I think you. I mean, well, obviously the financials probably played a role in it, but I think it's okay to date them all. Definitely talk to them all, but I definitely think it's kind of necessary to because I don't want to.
So wait, you got to kind of define what dating is, because that means
I ain't saying sleep with all of them.
Okay,
but definitely don't sleep with all of them. No.
Why
but
not?
now wait a minute, because
Why?
She will right up.
Why?
no, because in my mind, dating can mean something completely different than you. Because I had a woman tell me one time, like, yeah, I'm dating them, we sleeping together. Like, wait a minute, that's when you start sleeping with somebody, you done went beyond dating.
Yeah.
And that's just in my humble opinion.
No, you have.
And in my mindset, that's why I said you got to clarify what dating is, because a lot of women be dating, and you like talking about date them all, sis, and be sleeping with them all.
No,
So
don't sleep with them all. Dating, to me, is like getting to know many different people. You're going out, getting to eat, museums, ice cream dates, whatever, picnic, whatever it is you're into. Go get a Sixers game.
If you want to date them all, do them all, do it.
But I do not encourage you to sleep with them all, because that leads to other problems.
I say date them all. I feel like if you date them all, and just be honest about where you at. Like, I had a friend recently that went on a date with a guy, and his phone started blowing up, and she was like, answer the phone. So the dude was like, she was like, answer your phone. For one, it's annoying me because this girl was calling back to back, interrupting her date. But answer your phone. She was like, we're not in a relationship, so you don't owe me any explanation. Just be honest with me. I know that you're talking to somebody else. So while you're in a dating phase, I mean, if it's asked if you are dating somebody else, be honest about it. But I would say
in the dating phase, man, you shouldn't be out there.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Because like the lady said, you have no reason to lie.
Right.
Yeah. At all. I don't even owe you the truth. So
I say, if you can afford date however many you can afford,
facts.
and they'll start to, you'll start. It's at that point. It's the bracket.
Yeah,
right?
Definitely.
you
March
got
Madness,
March
baby.
You go from it's March Madness. You go from Elite 8 to the Final 4, and then you got the championship. And they say cream rises to the top, right? So again, as long as you're not sleeping, because I feel like people start sleeping with each other, and that's when you start to get those emotional connections.
Yeah, that definitely.
And it fucks everything up.
Yeah.
So just dating without sex, get all the pertinent information you need to give. To get, And I'm a firm believer in putting them in situations where they get to show who their true colors are.
I don't believe, like, I know, like, a lot of men probably disagree with me, but I don't think you can lay down with somebody and not, continue to lay down with somebody and not have the emotional connection, like, of some sort.
Men like to say we don't catch feelings, like, but you can
very
mad. I think if you can have sex without emotion, it's something psychologically wrong there. And now I also have done that in the past, so I'm not going to go holier than thou. But it's not natural. Like I remember having a conversation with a friend, and I was like, it was this one ex that I had went back to at the time, and he was like, man, y'all just gonna end up back together. And I was like, nah, there was no emotion there. And he was like, what? I was like, I don't think that's a natural or a healthy thing.
Yeah.
But it's completely natural to have sex with somebody and catch emotion.
Yeah, what I noticed, like you say, when you weeding them out, you can tell if someone is probably there because they hungry, or if they genuinely aren't interested. You know what I'm saying? Because women do that. You know what I'm saying? We not like that don't happen. I know women.
Shout out to Jay King. He call them foodies.
Who are taking dates.
No. It's a certain term that he had for them. Where it's like they just like the way you say hit and quit. It's something that he says. Damn, it just left me.
And you know what? Like if ladies, if you're gonna do that, just make sure you offer that man, some great conversation. Like at least try to be entertaining. Don't just be sitting there fucking up that food. Cause you look sus. Okay?
Eating with your hands and shit. Yes. Do y'all think people choose to be single parents, or is this more circumstance?
No, I think they choose.
I think they choose?
Well, technically, yes, they choose, bro. Because when you chose that person, you made a conscious decision to have unprotected sex, and you knew better. You chose to have that baby, even though that man didn't want to have that baby. You chose that person based off whatever criteria you had, but you deemed them worthy enough to lay with unprotected. Now, what we have to understand is that that's life and death nowadays.
Okay.
Right?
For sure.
But you talking about, if you asking, are they choosing to be single parents? It's like a lot of times I feel like they are, because I don't care who you are. Now, I don't want to speak in absolutes, because certain circumstances, it's always an exception to every rule. But a lot of times it was somebody who guided you along the way that said, don't do that. Don't do this. I don't like her for you. I don't like him for you. Like I would say it's safe to assume that we all bought that one home to mom or dad, and they was like,
my grandmom did.
Nope, And what did you do?
Still got her pregnant.
Exactly. You see what I'm saying? So you made a choice. Now, I don't think that's necessarily same.
Like, you dumbass.
Big dummy.
But yeah, so yeah, your choices lead you to being a single parent.
Okay.
Now, when you say single parent, I think I don't agree with the way the term is used, because my daughter's mother is single and a mother, but you're not doing this by yourself. So I think some people say single parent or single mother. We may not be together, but don't ever put on a front like you're just doing everything from the muscle, unless you're doing something with the absent parent.
Right.
At that point,
it's always presumed that other parent is a deadbeat.
Right.
So I get what you're saying.
Like my daughter, I might not be able to be here during the week to make it to certain events and stuff like that. But me and my daughter, we talk every day. I mean, not that finances goes into raising a child, but it does play a part.
Absolutely.
So I mean, I provide my daughter's mother with stuff, and then like certain stuff. There's been times where I just happened to telework during the week. So my daughter, for instance, had like a ring ceremony, and her mother was like, you know, I'm teleworking on. I mean, I'm working from home that day, but I can't break away. I'm like, I'm teleworking, and guess what? When I'm away from my computer, they don't know nothing. So I went and I could do that for my daughter. So yeah, she's single and she's a mother, but it's not like she's a single mother in the sense of an absent parent.
So to be specific, I guess I meant more like when you are parenting completely without the other parent.
Also, and I don't want you to take that like that was like an attack on you.
No.
I was really sitting there and like deep thought the other day, and I was like, I hate for that term to be used because there's some people out there like, yeah, I'm a hardworking mother. No, that dad is over there doing something too. Y'all might not be together. You might not be the primary parent, but if that other person is present and doing their part, you're not a single mother in that sense.
Like I know mothers who are single mothers, and when I say that term, I mean like the dude is completely uninvolved with the children. And it's not because of anything she did, it's because he's choosing to not. Also, she's choosing not to hold him accountable because there are things you can do.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But like, so that probably just answered the damn question myself. but I mean more along those lines. Like when you obviously you have a child and both parents are alive and they're part of the kid's life. You're not a single parent. You're co-parenting actually.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You're sharing the duties of the child. But I mean more like when the other parent is completely uninvolved. Like, do you think people choose to do that, or is it more just like circumstance? Like, or do some people maybe some people maybe get burnt out? Like some people just like, you know what, like.
I think it's circumstantial because I mean, I've seen scenarios where it's been like, you know what, bro, that's a lot. If you chose to walk away, I'm not saying that it's right.
Right.
But I understand.
I completely can understand. I mean, I had a homie say like, yo, I'll walk away, and when my child is 18, we can reconnect at that point, and I'm willing to walk away at this point and figure it out later with you than go through this for the next 18 years. And I was like, that is insane.
Yeah, but also, you know how intense that circumstance has to be for you to feel. Because at that point, you feel like, yo, this life or death, or I'm going to jail or something like that.
No, seriously.
Yeah.
Like, so, yeah, I get it. I definitely get it. But the best you could hope for is that, you know, he or she goes through that maturation process and start to understand it's not about me.
Right.
Because that's what happens. A lot of these people who end up, you know, raising kids by themselves either made a poor decision on a partner, or they're too immature to actually even be a parent. And I don't care what age you are.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? I think that sometimes we as human beings, if I can't be with you, or you don't want me no more, I'm going to ruin your life. Like at some point you mature because you want more for yourself. Yeah. They always, or at least most of the time, they wake up and realize, I want more for me. I got to let this go because I want better for me.
Right.
And they start to let that relationship happen between, you know, the kid and mom or dad, whichever way it go.
Right.
I definitely was there with your friend did with my 9-year-old. Like it was too much. I was like, you know what? Like
honestly, I was joking. That was the friend in that story.
Oh shit! Damn. But it'll really be a thought because like obviously I had other kids that I didn't have these issues with. You know what I mean? And it's one person that's causing me hell. Yeah, you know what? And I had the mindset back when I was young. I can make more kids.
Bro,
you know what I'm saying?
My daughter, mom, and dad at a certain point.
That is wow.
We here. My daughter, mom,
had more kids. You must have. You was getting. Who was the drug dealer now?
Yo, how about that?
My daughter's true story. We had Kayla, and we found out that she was pregnant with Cam. And I was like, all right. And we was at the front door. They was waiting for us to come in. And my daughter wasn't a coin flip. What? I said, listen. And we gonna say we gonna do it at the same time. You hesitate too much. We need to get out. Like the appointment is. So it's like, yo, on 1, 2, 3, keep her or get rid of her. And we both said keep her. Now, what we didn't know it was her at the time.
Okay.
But, you know, it's keep it or get it. And we go inside the kid and we pull it off. But the point I'm making is, nigga, you had money. because the whole reason we was going through that is because Kayla was hella expensive. I probably spent about almost $3,000 on Kayla's first birthday party.
Yeah, I just did a Sweet 16 last June.
Oh yeah, see?
Yeah, kids are.
Yeah, but
expensive.
Somebody got to be famous for them. I always say they got to be a doctor, a lawyer, or a drug
I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, you good. But I remember I had that mindset because I remember at a certain point, I was at a doctor's appointment one day, and my daughter mom it's fucking 8 o'clock in the morning, just hitting my lines, just a bunch of dumb shit. I'm taking you to court this day and that there, and I'm like, I legit didn't even do nothing. So at a certain point, she was just talking to herself. So that was very early on in, and at a certain point, we both came together and started to like work on like a friendship kind of thing where we just really got a great understanding for one another. And I started to ask her like, yo, why would you do stuff like that? Like, it would be the ass cracker during the morning, and you would just be like on go with dumb shit. She was like, sometimes I used to wake up and be like, how can I fuck up any state today? And I was like, yo, that is insane. I was like, I didn't even do nothing to you.
It's a true story. Like my kid's mom, she told me out her own mouth, like, you wasn't gonna be using that phone to call no bitches. She would call me, I would call it it's a paperweight at this point. Dang. Like, she would call it so much back to back to back. I'm like, don't you got work? Don't you got shit to do? Till I needed to get another phone. I mean, just back to back to back, like complete paperweight.
Yeah, I had a conversation with one of them, and she told me, she's like, I would just do stuff to piss you off because I knew like that was my way of getting you to contact me. Like, I would post something on social media about you, and I know you're gonna say something to me, so now I can have dialogue with you. And then like she was like, my hopes was you may want to sit there and talk about it. Then I'll try to like seduce you or something. Like, she said that to me. Wow. I was just like, I'm sitting there looking like
that's really a mindset.
Like that, you had a plan. Like, why don't you apply this to life?
Premeditated, like
that's almost premeditated.
And side note, women are the greatest detectives on the planet.
Facts.
Yeah.
Facts.
Bro, they could be living in squalor, okay? But let it be something on your phone, or they need to crack that password. They will figure it out. What they won't apply that same ingenuity to get their life together.
I think that the city should only employ women as homicide and narcotics detectives, because the crime rate would go down and the solve rate would definitely be a lot different.
My ex could never get in my phone because she can't figure out the password, and the password was her birthday.
Oh
wow!
She was like, I tried your birthday, one of your kids' birthday, and I was just like,
you know what's crazy?
That's the last thing she would expect, is that it'd be her birthday.
I just told y'all we had moved, out of the city and moved in together. And I had never locked my phone. For the longest time, my phone was never locked.
I got some shit in there.
Bro, she would go through my phone habitually.
What?
Every least little conversation
was
bitch. Huge. What a bitch. Every text was a huge deal, right? And I just told y'all I didn't know whether or not I was gonna be a dad. I found out I was gonna be a dad. So I'm super nigga now. I want to do everything. I'm super the best man I can be. Right? I'm doing everything. I cut all the bitches out. Everything that got the new crib, new car, like furniture. I'm trying to be the best man I can be. And she keep going through my phone and finding shit that was irrelevant, didn't have nothing to do with nothing. I didn't, this girl, I lived next door to her for 30 years. Like, what are we talking about?
Yes.
And you know what? I found out later.
She was cheating.
She was cheating. That guilt will make you tilt. That guilt was whooping that ass.
Can I call it stinking?
Stink. Call it stinking, bitch. Yeah. We good now. We straight. Like, we got to understand it. Like Ed said, we had those conversations.
Right.
Right. So we good now. Like I said, I'm not in child support, nothing like that. But that guilt will definitely make you tilt, man.
0407. Everybody knows my password. I only have a password because they require you to. But outside of that, I don't play the phone games. Don't touch my phone. That has always been my rule. If you want to pay that bill, can touch their phone. Now, I'm gonna be fucked up if somebody called me on that bluff and say I paid the bill.
Yeah.
But other than that, like I don't play phone games because it's easy to pick up somebody's phone and you already looking for something bad and to misinterpret something that you see that may be completely innocent.
Exactly.
Yeah. How you been ain't seen you in a while. What she means she ain't seen you in a while. Cause I haven't seen my cousin since the last.
Right.
But you looking for something.
What are you talking about?
Right.
Or I'm a person that don't delete anything. So
I don't delete anything either.
Like you could go back and find some news or something from 2014. You know what I'm saying? And it could be somebody I'm still in contact with, but at this point we are legitimately just friends. Or she sent me them news and I never even acted on it. I just kept it as a friend. You know what I'm saying? But you all hot and red
is secondary to the root of the problem.
Yeah.
Why the fuck are you touching my shit?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, why are you on my phone?
Because now, like they say, past pain equal privacy.
Yeah.
Now that's a deal breaker for me.
Yeah.
Like both my phones is locked right now. If you ever feel like the need to go through it, it's cool. I'm done with you. Whatever we got going on is over.
Right. Yeah, because that tells me you got a trust issue.
Yeah.
You got some insecurities.
And I just told y'all what happened.
Right.
Like so now that's a trigger for me.
Yep.
You doing it because you out here doing you.
Exactly.
And it's over.
Fucking done, son.
Done, son.
You ever had a friend that always went after your exes? Or it could be ex-acquaintances, ex-women you mess with, ex-girlfriends. You ever experienced that?
So me and my friends, we had a conversation years ago, and I was like, "Hey, I don't go after none of my old work."
Right.
Like if it was somebody that we had something with, like now if it was just I got the phone number, it didn't go nowhere, have at it. But if it was somebody, cause they call me a certified lover boy, so I prefer to be in relationships. So if it was somebody I was talking to, more than likely, if you know enough to know that we were talking to each other, we had some kind of relationship. I would prefer you not to go into that.
Right.
But I let that be clearly known because other friends in my circle don't necessarily have that rule, and they like, if I'm not with them, have at it.
Yeah, I'm cool. I don't like to share food.
Nah, I don't think I've ever experienced that. Like I'm trying to think real hard. Like I've never experienced none of my homies ever like really deliberately went after some old work.
Yeah, I know a dude. We was actually we not friends no more, but we had been friends since we were like in the 6th grade, and like looking back, like he would even when we were kids, he would middle school, high school, adulthood. Like he actually had a don't kill me, sis, because me and her are cool now. But he actually had a baby with somebody I used to talk to, and me and her are good. Like we're solid or whatever. But like he knew. Like I was talking to her,
right?
But she didn't know me and him were cool. You know what I'm saying? And I take her word for it.
That is insane.
But yeah, like he knew because again, like me and him were so close that like he was sitting next to me in the bar, like he saw like the text thread, so he knew what was going on.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, like multiple times. I got friends now that think that they don't think I know, but they have tried to talk to like my actual physical ex-girlfriends, and they tell me like, why is your homie that I've never met, only saw at your house once, requesting me on? And then like I got message requests in my DMs.
Strange behavior.
Yeah, like I feel like
that's wild with their style, bro.
And if you my homie, you like we talk in detail. So not to say I'm sleazy, but you know how disgusting I can be. So why would you want like? I'm just saying, why would you want
to go behind that?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like so, to me, that's extremely.
Brian, it's funny. I've never heard somebody say that in that meaning. That was wild. You know how disgusting I can be. You want to go after that? That was wild.
I mentioned this to you before we got started. The James Lambert, the old guy that got killed down in North Philly. They dropped the charges on one kid, the 14-year-old guy, Richard Jones. He was released because of lack of evidence. I think this is complete bullshit. I seen the video. What y'all think of it? Like, what the fuck is going on? Like, how do you? I've seen people get convicted for less. In the city.
It's weird, but I mean, I feel like kids growing up in the hood, we've all done some dumb shit along the way, even if we, huh?
You kiss one?
Why would I fucking sit here on camera and tell you that? This guy is wild. But no, I think we've all done like dumb shit that could like get us arrested. Now, I was never one to like play like the knockout game or nothing like that. I think the kids should be penalized, but I think for me, this would really have to make me have to like look at their like their brief history to see like what they got into, because dumb mistake, yes. A man lost his life, yes. I don't think that should go unpunished, but I kind of have an issue with something outside of like deliberate cold-hearted murder.
Okay.
I kind of like don't want to see kids get roofed that may not necessarily deserve it, but it still would need to be some kind of penalty in play.
I'm all for like a case by case, like it's 7 kids.
Yes.
Go case by case.
Yes.
If this kid has been like arrested 3 or 4 times, obviously headed down the right path, the punishment needs to be severe. I ain't saying life. What I'm saying, it needs to be severe so that you can save the kid. I'm gonna say save the kid. Because again, these are 14-year-olds, but I think there's an older kid that's like 16. I'm not sure, but I know there's somebody older than 14. So like, obviously the ones that's like 11 and 12, okay, you look at it a little different. 14, but the ones that's approaching adulthood, and if they got a record, like you gotta, I just think you gotta set like a precedence or an example.
I would also want those kids to all be mentally evaluated, because to beat somebody to that point, that's a lot of aggression being taken out on a person. And what else is going on there that made those kids? I mean,
Parents.
it's one of the. I mean, yes, but what else? Like, it has to be something going. I'll be completely honest and transparent. I had a moment where I honestly beat somebody that bad, and when it came down to it, like afterwards, my friends, they were like, "Yo, what's going on?" And my homie Corey was like, "Nah, that's because he ain't talked to his daughter in X amount of time. That's why he showed that level of aggression." But it was, I mean, that was like me holding on to something like traumatic at that time for me. So what was going on with those kids that would warrant them taking that kind of frustration out on a person? Because that's more than just like the knockout game where they just like hit somebody and run, laughing jokes. They beat shit out that old man.
Yeah.
So for me, you know, I'm. Your listeners gonna be like, this nigga is wild.
No,
But
we do all honesty here, man.
No, I'm gonna keep it real because I had said it on my show before. I try to. Ant's right. Both of y'all, you gotta look at stuff. Ant's right, and they need the punishment. You right, case by case basis. But my issue here is when you look at the mitigating circumstances around what happened to that man. That man is old enough to be their grandfathers.
Probably great-grandfather.
Great-grand. He was out-minded his business and at an hour in which adults can be out there minding their business. These were, how old were they when it happened? 13?
So they 14 now, so they was 2 years old, so 12. 11.
All right, so they were minors.
Mm-hmm.
This is 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. Am I correct?
Oh shit! I didn't realize
That's
that
why I
was
said
that.
parents.
Oh wow! I
This-
didn't realize it was that late.
I had said this on my show one time. For me, I would have liked to seen those parents be charged as well.
Absolutely.
With the same exact kind crime. Whatever the kids were going to be charged with, whether it's, manslaughter, involuntary, whatever the case may be, whatever they're charged with, I would like to see the parents get charged with. Here's why. This was at an ungodly hour. Kids that young who are minors, legitimately minors in the eyes of the law, should have been in the house, getting ready for school the next day, or whatever. Even if it was the summertime, they needed to already have been in the house. Where were the parents? You hear people say that all the time. Where were the parents? And then you have these parents that are quick to defend themselves. Oh, mom and dad got to work there. I don't give a fuck what you got to do. You the same fuckers that say, I'll jump in front of a bullet for mines. I'm killing over mines. Why don't you care where they are at 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning? Which means you were reckless. You were irresponsible. So it should almost be like how conspiracy works. You get the same goddamn charges. I don't give a fuck how busy you is. I know where my kids are at all times. And if that kids are walking around with cell phones.
Share that fucking
with your trackers, right? You share your location. Whatever I gotta do to know where you at all times, I'm going to know. Because it's my responsibility as a parent. I don't care if I have to work overnight. I don't care if I have to work day shift or swing shift or late shift. It does not, graveyard shift. None of that shit matters. I need to know where you are at all times. It's my responsibility. So if something like that does happen, I'm confident in saying, yo, my daughter wasn't out there.
Right.
I know my kids. And see, that's the problem. These parents are allowed to get away with not raising their kids or not being responsible for their kids. And I don't want to hear that shit. These kids don't listen. Because again, these kids are disrespectful. They don't listen. I can't control them. How do they afford cell phones?
You paying to do it.
How do they afford the clothes on their back?
You bought it.
The food in their belly to have the energy to fucking go out and do some stupid shit like this? How? You provide it. So if you're going to be disrespectful to me, there's a place for kids of all ages. Of every fucking age. So if you can't respect me, my rules, my regulations, my house, right? Then there's a place for you.
Absolutely.
Youth Study Center.
Yep.
But I won't be responsible if you go out here and commit a crime. And I think they need to start holding these parents responsible. These kids are walking around with switches. Where are they laying their heads? They don't have money to afford houses or apartments or food or cell phones. Even the ones who work. Y'all know what rent is nowadays in a major metropolitan city?
Yeah.
$1,800 for a 2-bedroom.
Like, come on, man. Like, as a parent, it's your responsibility to make sure these kids are monitored. You know where they are. You know what they're doing. You know what they're into. Don't give me that shit. As any father will tell you, who knows their kids, they know when something's changed.
Yeah.
So it's funny.
Am I lying?
No, you absolutely right.
I can tell when they
The language change, the friends change, the attitude changes.
Body language.
Those are all red flags that you need to investigate as a parent. Don't give me that shit you work too much. I don't want to, that's an excuse. Okay? And excuses like assholes, everybody's got them.
No,
your ass need to be charged. That was a pause?
No,
Oh.
He said excuses are like assholes. I said, yeah, I don't want to hear yours.
Right, exactly. Like, I don't want to hear yours. Like, do better as a parent. If not, they need to change these laws. Because if you're looking at what's happening in these major inner cities, the vast majority of it is being perpetuated by kids, minors.
Yeah. So
parents' responsibility.
Something interesting that you said that goes along with that, and one of these latest school shootings that happened, they charged the parent with like manslaughter. And I forgot how they looped it in, but the kid had got like one of the parents' gun, and it was like after the investigating, they found that it wasn't like locked up and secured and something like that. And I want to say in this particular scenario that the school had reached out or something like, hey, your kid's behavior is concerning. This is some of the things that we're seeing, and it was all ignored. And I want to say like the mother got off, but the stepfather was arrested. It was one or the other, but I think stuff like that more should be taken into play, because if there's no repercussions, it's just going to continue. But if my freedom is on the line because of you, hey, I'm going to be a little bit more concerned.
Like,
exactly.
Treated like that situation should be treated like you didn't lock the gun up. Because if you don't lock the gun up and your kid takes the gun and goes up and somehow they know the code for whatever reason, and they take that gun and they go out and kill somebody for whatever reason, you're held accountable. You're held accountable for your child.
Right. Your
child it's 2-3 o'clock in the morning. We had to be home before the street lights came on.
Thank you.
So
thank you.
like these kids again. I can look at my locations and see where all my kids at right now, and I'm aware of it. You know what I'm saying? That's the if that for any reason that location ever goes off, I'm in my car to the last known location, and I'm calling on my way. Why? Because what in what world do you think is okay for your location not to be on?
Exactly.
We didn't know each other as that, and that's without yelling. That's without threatening. My kids just know that's the rule. So I think with a lot of these kids, again, they don't have rules. There's no foundation. There's no adult in the house. It's babies having babies.
Like I said,
you know what I mean?
There's places for every age.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Like and I get it. These young black men can be wild and they can be scary as a parent of them, but it's no way you stand in my house and you out here living like this. And they don't give me this shit. I didn't know. Don't get on the news crying, talking about he or she was a good boy, and they have been running with the. And how is it that you don't see your kids' social media?
Right. I got my kids. I got
man.
all these social medias.
Come
all
on,
of
man.
And it's just.
And then you can't lock no phone that I pay for.
Absolutely.
Where or you can't lock me out of no phone that I pay for.
I can get it in.
You can't live under my roof if I can't get in your phone.
I got friends.
Like, stop it.
I seen. I don't know if it was last week. It might have been last week or week before last. Down Templewood. Kids, North Philly, running around, jumping on people's cars.
Yeah.
And I'm like, in my mind, I'm just like,
them parents must not watch the news, huh?
Right? Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, so what happens if a kid jumps in my car? Oh, not me. Let's say a street nigga.
And they feel right.
And he blows their head the fuck off. Now, like you said, you're on the news talking about, oh, my baby, this. Like the guy, the school shooting up in Northeast. The parent had no clue. When the cops came, he said he had no clue what was going on. Didn't know it was a gun in his house or nothing. And I either want to call bullshit, either way it looks bad.
I'm calling bullshit, man. Because like I said, when you take a child from birth to whatever age, when you see a shift, that should concern you.
Yeah.
The fact that it didn't or you ignored it is your responsibility.
Right.
That's on you. You got to carry that too.
And one thing that I'll say is I want to go and research this video because this one lady, she did an interview and it was like one of the most like accountable videos that I've ever seen of somebody that had like a child that was just out here. She was like, I forget the lady's name, and her son was killed, and she was like, I really want to apologize to the victims of my son because I know my son was a menace. She was like, they call him Monster. I knew that he was out here and I knew he was taking lives and stuff like that. She was like, I am by no means sitting here asking for condolences because my son brought that on himself. She said, now I want to reach out, and she started some kind of foundation where she was helping victims' families. But she was like, I can't sit here and cry for my son when I know my son was out here catching wreck. He got to a point where he was lost. And I told him, like, hey, you're going to go one day, and I'm going to be upset that you're going, but I'm not going to be upset by the means, because if you out here wreaking this type of habit, it's going to come back to you one day. There's no way that you're going to be out here living like this and go unscathed. And I was like, I thought that was powerful because, I mean, yeah, I wish I would see somebody that your son is Monster. You know, he got 9 underneath his belt and you crying.
Two things. So this to all parents. Working long hours is not an excuse not to know what's going on with your kids. Very much to what he was saying. I work long hours. Sometimes I work doubles, but I'm aware of everything that's going on with my kids. When I get in at the end of the day, if I get in past their bedtime and they're asleep, then they just sleep. But the very next day, when I see them, we're having a conversation about how your day went.
Right.
How your week has been going. Like, we're touching base. Or we're texting throughout the day, hey, what's going on? There's a level of communication to touch base, because the minute you stop talking to your kids and that becomes normal, it's a problem.
Yeah.
And I bet when you come in, if it's bad, I bet you check every round.
You damn right I do.
This is what I'm
You
talking
damn right
about.
I do. Why wouldn't I?
This is what I'm talking about.
Why wouldn't I?
Exactly.
And it's not because I don't trust my kids. It's just to make sure that they're safe.
It's the fact that you're a good dad. You're a good father. Like, it don't sit right with me if I'm not checking on my kids. If I'm not
now. I want to reach out, and she started some kind of foundation where she was helping victims' families. But she was like, I can't sit here and cry for my son when I know my son was out here catching wreck. He got to a point where he was lost, and I told him like, hey, you're gonna go one day, and I'm gonna be upset that you're going, but I'm not gonna be upset by the means, because if you out here wreaking this type of habit, it's going to come back to you one day. There's no way that you're going to be out here living like this and go unscathed. And I was like, I thought that was powerful because, I mean, yeah, I wish I would see somebody that your son is monster. You know, he got 9 underneath his belt and you crying.
Two things. So this to all parents. Working long hours is not an excuse not to know what's going on with your kids. Very much to what he was saying. I work long hours. Sometimes I work doubles, but I'm aware of everything that's going on with my kids. When I get in at the end of the day, if I get in past their bedtime and they're asleep, then they just sleep. But the very next day, when I see them, we're having a conversation about how your day went,
right?
How your week has been going. Like we're touching base, or we're texting throughout the day. Hey, what's going on? There's a level of communication to touch base, because the minute you stop talking to your kids and that becomes normal, it's a problem.
Yeah, and I bet when you come in, if it's bad, I bet you check every round.
You damn right I do.
This is what I'm talking about.
You damn right I do. Why wouldn't I?
This is what I'm talking about.
Why wouldn't I? Exactly. And it's not because I don't trust my kids. It's just to make sure that they're safe.
It's the fact that you're a good dad. Right. You're a good father. Like, it don't sit right with me if I'm not checking on my kids, if I'm not showing them affection, if I'm not invested in their mental health, their emotional well-being, their physical well-being, right? So when you invest it like that as a parent from birth, my mom used to say this about me. I know my son. I never understood that shit, right. Like, cause I'm out here, you know, I'm doing my thing.
I didn't understand that till I was older either.
Right. Yeah. But she knew her son. She just knew it was certain shit you couldn't accuse me of, you couldn't put on me, or you couldn't say about me. Just like we all know our kids, right?
Yeah.
Right? Because we know, because we've been there, and we're taking it full circle again. We're present.
Right. Every morning, because normally I leave out before Gabby goes to school, but every morning when she opens the door, the ring goes off on my phone. Now, it has nothing to do with me not trusting her. I don't trust the neighborhood.
Right.
I sit there and watch the ring, make sure she gets out the door locked, in the door locked, nobody behind her. And I mean, I don't know, she probably knows I do it. I mean, she knows her dad.
Right.
But it's more of, it's not, there's no issue with me worrying about her bringing anybody in my house. I'm more worried about someone following her home or something like that. That's just the father's mindset.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? It's no different. When she going to school, while I'm working on planes and stuff, but I'll check every 15 minutes. If she's at school, or if she's at school, boom, be good. I know she's done at 3 o'clock. All right, she's leaving to go to work. Did she make it to work? All right, good. You know what I'm saying? It's not, and my kids understand it's not like, it isn't one of those to be.
So what it sounds like is, you give a shit.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
It's simple.
I just came here literally from harassing my daughter at her job.
There you go.
Yeah, you see what I'm saying? Like, when you give a shit, you know your kids is out because you checked.
If my kids didn't think I was an annoying dad, I wouldn't feel like I was doing my job.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And you know what those kids turn out to say 30 years from now?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Facts.
Yep.
Facts. Those is facts.
Everything, I probably said this before, everything, because my grandma pretty much raised everything she said to me was right. Everything she said to me, I now say to my kids. Everything.
Don't it make you like nauseous when you hear
pause,
the words?
And you
come on,
shit. I'm that dad. Like,
which is why, like, when I'm down here, like when they in trouble and it, like down here again, because I really feel like she's looking at me through the picture. So like when I'm down here and they in trouble and I'm saying stuff to them, I feel like she's looking at me like yeah, like look what I created. Like, you know what I mean? Like
now.
Yeah, yeah, because I know I wasn't an easy kid to raise. Like I know that. But thank God my kids don't, knock on wood, so far they don't put me through hell. I still got to get through the 2 little ones. But yeah, like you said, it's because you give a shit. Like you have to care. And right. I think when I would much rather be the annoying, overbearing father than the cool parent that I can hang with that. You know what I'm saying? They feel like I'm glad they don't feel like I'm their friend. They know they can come to me, but they know we're not friends.
You know what? I'm glad that you said that because I was kind of thinking about that even with my own daughter. Like I like the fact that she can like hang with me in the sense of like we could go places, we could have fun. But I don't want you to think like I'm your friend to the point that we on the same level where you can just do whatever you want around me. Or there still is a level of respect that's still had there, but comfortable enough that you can bring anything to me.
And I know you know it. You know it just as well. Teenagers make you want to fucking kill them. Teenage girls.
I'm almost there. Kayla's 12.
Oh, bruh.
It was weird because I didn't see that switch really flip with my daughter until she turned 15.
Yeah,
that was the first time that I saw like, because 13 she was still cool. 14 I'm like, man, these teenage years ain't bad.
High school.
15 was where I was like, wait, this is a little different. Yep. 16 it was some times where we like literally like locked horns where I said, when I see you, we're gonna have some words.
you got your kids. So like our kids are around other kids who have parents who don't give a fuck and let them wear whatever, do whatever, go whatever, don't check in. So when they start to feel like, oh, my friends have all this freedom, very much how we felt. My grandma, she would tell me, you gotta be in the house by 10 o'clock, even on the weekends. I'm like, well, grandma, because at that age, and I have to correlate it to them, I didn't understand how dangerous the neighborhood was.
Right.
I didn't understand how dangerous the world was. I think I'm just at the basketball court with my friends. My grandma was thinking, you're at the basketball court where sometimes people get shot at. Yeah, and you're lucky that I allow you to go there in the daytime. You know what I mean? And like even now, like now we have so much access to our kids throughout the day. I go back like I had a Nokia with no tracker, with nothing. You didn't know where I would leave out the house 10 o'clock in the morning and I come back out 10 o'clock.
You can call, text, and play Snake.
Lose it, right? Like as a parent, if I would lose my mind.
But you gotta also realize it was a different time. Like we grew up with a certain I call it that spidey sense, hood sense. Okay. These kids nowadays don't have that. They're oblivious to it because they didn't grow up in that environment. Right. So where we can sense danger, like, oh, wait, it might be time to go or get on the way. They don't have that because they wasn't raised in that same environment, right? Like you just said, you watch it go out the door. But truth be told, like ultimately you do that because you're being a father. You're making sure she's safe. Right. If it was an issue, she wouldn't go out that door by herself. Right. Yeah. Right. You would be out there with her every day. You'll figure it out. Right. That's what parents do. We figure it the fuck out. Yeah. Right. But the important thing is that I just think that everybody needs to get back to that village mentality. Yep. Because if that man was out there there you go. If that old man was out there that time of morning, had those kids been raised a little differently, they'd have helped them get back home. And made sure he got in the crib straight.
Into the community parent part. Like
and they wouldn't have been out there at all.
Even now, like, and my daughter, she just now seen you for the first time. But my daughter, she'll tell you, she know, like, even with Aunt, he just seen all my kids. They know anybody that they've seen with me, if they see you out acting a fool, they have the right to check you. She know, like, if she had been recognized, you'll probably recognize her before she did. But if you saw her out, that's Ron, what are you doing? And she would respect you the same way she respected me because she know anybody I have around me in front of them in the house, you have because that's the precedence I set and that's how I was raised. We would get fucked up by the neighbors and brought back to the crib.
Or not. I mean, I would much rather it coming from the neighbor than all right. Wait till I see Big Aunt. I got you. No. Yeah. I would much rather slap upside the head from the neighbor or something like that. But no, you're definitely right in that, and that's why I bring my daughter around my friends, so all my friends see her. So you just never know. Like I remember one day I had to tell my daughter, I was like, my friends really know you and like care about you. Right. You might I might not be physically in Philly, but you always have eyes. Right. So she didn't believe me. So I'll never forget. I walked in Corey's house. And JoJo was there at the time. Now, at the time, JoJo was living right around the corner from her. Okay. So I said, Cece, watch this since you don't believe me. I said, yo, JoJo, why is Cece just telling me that this lady down 57th Street walked up and smacked her? So JoJo grabbed her jacket, put it on, grabbed CC by the arm, started walking to the door, and was like, so what part of 57th Street? So I let CC walk to the door with her. And then when she finally got to the door, I was like, JoJo, I'm playing. She was like, why the fuck do you keep playing like that? That shit ain't funny, ain't? So she turned around and I walked off. I'm laughing because my point was proven.
Right.
And as I'm walking off, I just happened to look back because I noticed my daughter wasn't walking next to me. And she grabbed it. She was like, no, is your dad playing, or did somebody really smack you on 57th Street?
Right.
She said, no, he really playing.
Yeah.
But it proved my point.
Yeah.
There's always people looking out after you, and we do need to get back to that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Me personally, I love it. Like I actually live on a block. I grew up on this block. My neighbors know. They see my kids out doing anything. It's the same thing as it was when I was a kid. Check them, correct them. Probably
Invite
don't put
them
hands on them,
to this reggaeton party that they got.
But they know, like, it's just, I don't know, I just think you teach that to your kids. You teach them to respect their elders, and that's it. Like, you know what I mean? If an elder is getting disrespectful with you, don't worry about it. I'll handle it when I get there.
That's an adult.
But it's not your job to address an adult. You're an adult because you're not. You know what I mean? And that puts you in a predicament where now, you know what I mean, it could change. They could put their hands, and it's a totally different conversation.
Different story, yeah,
you know what
for sure.
I mean? So I think that's, like I said, it's very important. That's all I got for y'all today. Before we get out of here, go ahead and plug y'all pages, businesses, podcasts.
Big exclusive network, the most dangerous podcast network around. If you got a podcast idea, need a home, holla at Big Exclusive.
I mean, what do you want me to do? You got a podcast. You got a podcast. You can catch the Big Exclusive podcast on the Big Exclusive Network Tuesday nights at 7 p.m. That's the live show. It's released to every podcast outlet Wednesday afternoon. So Tuesday night, 7 p.m. live show. You can go to the Big Exclusive Network YouTube channel to catch it live. And then anywhere you can find a podcast, you'll find that episode Wednesday afternoon. Thanks for having me, man. This was fun.
Then on Thursdays, also on the Big Exclusive Network, you can check out the Antmoney Experience, the podcast unlike anything else you'll see on the internet. You know, we got a lot of great things happening over at the BEN, and come on over and join us.
And we also got
That being said,
baby girl products, man.
I'd like to announce that we are canceling the Antmoney Experience.
Damn.
I kid. Yeah, real quick, Ant been holding that shit down lately. He got 2 shows out of the rotations for whatever reason. Ant been the only one holding it down on the biggest
Can't stop, won't
network.
stop.
Right. No Diddy. But salute to Ant and the Antmoney Experience. I'm actually excited about being a guest and not just producing this time.
Oh yeah, we got a banger on the way on Thursday. Pause.
Super pause. And your daughter, she got her skincare products. She got.
Yeah, so
We plug everything here, baby.
I see.
Everything.
You wasn't gonna let me get out of here without
No, we plug everything.
And I appreciate that. My oldest daughter, Kayla, she has a company called Maywa Cosmetics. Maywa means luxury in Sudanese. So she has a young, luxurious skincare and cosmetics company. Right now she has some great lip gloss and lip balm and sugar scrubs and body mist and body butters. Like, she's doing her thing. I'm proud of my baby. My youngest daughter, Cameron, breaking news, she just was invited to audition again for the first time. She turned him down.
Oh,
She said, no,
I got better
I'd
things
rather-"
to do.
No, but she said,
Honey.
she said, Dad, you got your own network. Why don't I just create my own show on your network? And Kids Baking Championship
Oh,
on
super
Food Network
dope.
has invited her out to audition. We filled out the application, sent it to producers. She's doing some baking as we speak. So we can send the pictures off to the producers. I think next is once they get the pictures, they'll do like a video chat interview with her. But my youngest daughter, Cameron, she actually, AKA Low Exclusive, does her own thing. She got a Low Exclusive bakery. She got chocolate chip cookies, chocolate chip toffee, oatmeal raisin, and she has this stuffed carrot cake cookie and stuffed red velvet cookie
fire.
coming this summer. When she really only does it when she gets out of school. She can't do it full time because she's definitely dedicated to academics. She's an honor roll student as well. Both my daughters are honor roll students. So that's what we have going on. Breaking news. You got it first on the Safe Space with Man. So if they pick her and she goes on, I'm bringing her here once the show is over. Win, lose, or draw, we're going to come in and talk to you
That's
first.
fire.
I want to say,
You get the press conference.
I got to point out, because I watched her YouTube show when she was doing skincare products. That was when I noticed her mom on her. But, so, I just got to point out, I don't want to say single father, but a father that has his girls, honor roll students. He's pushing them to open and have businesses of their own. He's making sure they're ambitious. He's also not allowing her to not focus on school. This is all the things I just heard you say. Not focus on school over something that's not as important as school. And like her eye is on the correct target. But I just gotta point that out, man. I think basically giving your flowers. Like a lot of times, nobody points. If a woman was doing that, everybody be reposting it all about.
Yeah.
But like when we do it, it's you're supposed to do it. But I just gotta point that out, man. I think that's super dope. The way, and especially like she was on there, like you was guiding her. She was a little nervous, but you was there with her, and it made her more comfortable. And like eventually she relaxed.
Just the way she was carrying it, I was like, damn. My last show wasn't this good.
Like,
I do this weekly.
I'm like, my first episode, 3 minutes in, I was sweating. I'm like, and I wasn't live.
Well, both my daughters have done. All right, so Kayla has done 6 ABC News and Local-ish, and Fox.
Okay.
Cameron has done 6 ABC News, Local-ish, Fox, and the Drew Barrymore show.
I remember you still.
Yeah, so they both are like they both work really hard. Let me say that. They both work really hard, but I don't let these things be their primary focus.
Okay.
Right? I want to make sure they're academically steady because that's, to me, always found. I'm not saying you have to go to college, you have to get a degree. I am pushing them to do that, though. I want them to do that. But again, they have options. That's why it's important for me to make sure they're entrepreneurs because they have a curriculum outside of what the school is teaching them.
Okay.
And that's everything that we didn't get growing up, that you couldn't be a business owner. Credit does matter. Cash is not king.
Right.
And more people than, Martin Luther King and, Frederick Douglass. To me, it's more important for them to have that strong educational foundation because it can take them anywhere. And then last but not least, you can pick up their products. Well, Cameron's, the cookies will be available starting once school is out. I want to say starting June, you'll be able to get her cookies again. And Kayla products are available on www.icraftmart.com.
There you have it, guys. Well, thank y'all for coming. I really do appreciate y'all taking time out. I know I got busy schedules.
Man, it's nice to be a guest. I didn't have to produce or nothing.
Ant drove up from Virginia. I got to meet his lady friend today.
Whoa, can you edit that part out?
Real quick, Ant came to the door, and I look out to the people. I didn't see this girl. I didn't see Ant. And I was just like, who is this person? I opened the door, and he's standing with, and I still was like a little lost. And I didn't even realize it was his girlfriend until like after we had been in the house talking for like 40 minutes. And I asked her.
And he still opened the door, so you know what? I'm going to get a gun and a mask and try this again down the block.
You see when you ring the doorbell, it pop up on the TV.
Yeah.
I'm going to turn all the lights out. But yeah, I appreciate y'all coming. I really do, man.
A quality nigga, too. Man. He is, man. I just been thinking about all the stuff. But just real quick, I looked at the show last week, right? I was producing it, and Ant made that bet on the WWE and about who. He actually paid. He had quality nigga. Any other nigga would have been like, man, that was just pie. With Joe, he was just pie. That was but he actually paid. He's not a Welsh.
The funny part
his debt.
Was I just got the bottle of Jack, so I was walking to the register. And the lady kind of grabbed it from me, and I was like, "Well, damn, bitch." And then she was like, no,
That
take
joint
this
is
one as the
officially
special
branded
edition.
box
And I was
set
like,
with the flyers.
I said, oh, he better be lucky that's not an Eagles one because he wasn't getting that.
Yeah, I can't even touch that type of stuff.
He ain't start to boil you.
I'm sorry. I just need to say that. Like,
No,
I
he
appreciate
definitely
that.
paid on
Appreciate
his
that.
bet. I wasn't expecting that. I was like, what is this? He's like, oh yeah. And he like, did he like look down? He like, yeah, because I lost the bet. But as usual, thank y'all for listening. Thank y'all for watching. I appreciate it. I hope y'all enjoyed the episode. And until next time, peace.